All right, guys, it's November. It means two things. Number one, it's no shave November now. And number two, Merry Christmas. No, I'm just kidding. We're not doing that here. But
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
well,
That's
how's
a little
about
might be
that
a
beer
little
though?
early.
How's about that beer though? I know Jason's not a beer drinker, but hey, I gotta show it off. If you live in New
Hey,
York
it's supposed to
State,
be
this
as
shit.
close as you can get.
If you live in New York State, this is the best one I think of the holidays. But
If you also live in New York State,
cider
so
country.
it's cider country, definitely.
So, with that, though, coming up on the show, of course, we got to talk the World Series that's going on. It might have ended last night. It might not have. We could be in Game 7 today, later today. You never know. But, again, we'll talk about one big thing that did happen in Game number 4. We'll also talk some NBA. We'll talk the NFL trade deadline. We'll also have our picks as well as Tinkle on this. But with that, all you. No.
All right. Well, we talked about Luka Doncic last week. Well, we're going to talk about him again. Man, this guy is on fire through the first 8 games of the season. He is currently an elite company, and you would think it would be Michael Jordan. No, it's actually Wilt Chamberlain he is in an elite company with, as he and Wilt Chamberlain are the only 2 players in NBA history to start a season, the first 8 games of the season, scoring over 30-plus points. Of course, Wilt Chamberlain had a season where he started the season 23 games in a row scoring 30-plus points. I don't think Luka is going to go that far. And then again, I could be wrong, because this could be a magical season for Luka where he could, have maybe 23, 24, or 25 so games in a row scoring 30-plus. Now, the real question I have is, what team is going to eventually stop him? Because there's going to be a team that's going to probably stop him.
And it's early.
I don't think it's going to be Celtics.
I don't like how he's breaking out this early, because now it's giving teams a chance to sit there and be like, okay, what are we going to do here? And it gives them a chance. It's going to force, to me, the way Luka overcomes this is he's going to have to be creative going the rest of the way. Okay. He's got to try to be kind of like that magician. I'm not giving away any secrets, I'm
Right.
going to change my game. I could play one way one game. I'm going to play the other way the next game. Okay.
I will say
keep 'em on their
that
toes.
him being this kind of player is definitely helping a lot of the other players, be more involved
Yep.
in the offense, because players are going to try to double or triple team Luka, and Luka so far has been able to be out the double teams and have contested shots and are going in. Luka so far in those first 8 games has been showing that it doesn't matter what kind of defense you throw to him, he's still going to find a way. I mean, that's what a great point guard will do. I mean, this is not new to him. He's been in the NBA for 5 seasons now, so he's very accustomed to what is going to get, what kind of defenses are going to get thrown his way. Spencer Dinwiddie and Christian Wood, a lot of the other players that are on that Mavericks team, have been able to step up in a way that, I would think, losing Jalen Brunson does suck, because I think that Jalen Brunson was definitely a scapegoat kind of player that could help out Luka in situations where, if he's double teamed, he could pass it out to Jalen Brunson and other players around him. But I think Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Christian Wood are those kind of players that if he is in a bind, he can pass it out to one of them and they can be main ball handlers. So I agree that I think that it's not fun and it's not great to see him, showing that, oh, well, I can be like an MVP-like player so early. But if he can hold it up and it can stay healthy for a majority of the season, I think that the Mavericks can be a little bit. He's right over there, March. And then And then I really do think that the Mavericks can be that kind of team that could be in the playoffs and maybe make a nice little, probably get as far as they were last year. I don't think they're going to be finals bound. But I'm going to go on to the second point here. Yes, the Buffalo Bills did beat the Packers 27-17. But this was a game where it could have very well got out of their hands. Especially with Josh Allen throwing 2 back-to-back picks against Jair Alexander. Of course, we know all the jaw-jacking that him and Stephon Diggs had. I don't know what that was all about. So I don't know exactly what was going, on with them jaw-jacking, but Buffalo was the better team. They did get the win against the Packers. But Brian, maybe if Rodgers had the receivers he had, this might have been a different outcome.
I mean, yeah, obviously. And here's the thing, the Bills didn't play their best game, obviously. But, coming off a bye, that obviously hurts, number one. Number two, you played a team that you don't normally see.
So, yeah.
But nonetheless, it was a good game. If the Packers did have the receivers, I imagine they would have been a better team. I apologize, I missed part of that question. Only because while we're recording, the Xfinity Championship 4 is on TV right now. And, of course, for Out of Turn 4, I'll talk about it a little later. But,
right. Well, I guess more so the question was say if he did have the receivers, not saying Devontae Adams, but if he had the majority of the receivers, if he had Randall Cobb out there healthy, if he had Alan Lazard out there healthy,
I don't know if it would have made a difference, to be honest. I mean, that's just how loaded the Bills team is. The other
three, it probably would not have. I mean, of course, if it's Devontae Adams, it definitely certainly would have made a lot more of a difference than not. But
now, see, the other three games that they lost, maybe it would have made a difference, but I just don't know. I think the Buffalo game they were going to lose, just with how loaded Buffalo was.
Now, the real question I have here is, say if Mason Crosby did hit that 55-yard field goal, now would that have made the game a little different? I mean, probably not, but it's always tough to tell. Josh, I think towards the end, especially in the second half, I think he forced some balls, and he knows better. He knows he can play a lot better than that. So I don't know why he was trying to force the ball into situations. Especially when you have a lead, too. Don't force the ball. I mean, you're a fifth-year quarterback. You shouldn't be forcing the ball. But other than that, I think it's a good win for the Bills, and I'm hoping they can keep it going. 6-1 for the first time since 1993. And if anybody, old-school Buffalo Bills fan knows, that year they did go to the Super Bowl. Of course, they did lose badly to the Cowboys, but we don't talk about that. I guess I'll get on to my last point. So the last point is Steve Nash has been let go by the Brooklyn Nets. Kind of saw that coming, but didn't see this one coming. Now the Nets' new head coach is suspended for the whole entire year
by the Celtics. They're going to have to wasn't an NBA suspension. Too.
He was suspended by the Celtics because of everything going on with a female intern or a worker with the organization itself. Well, now the Nets have a very odd situation where they have to go kind of like what the Boston Celtics are doing. They're having an interim head coach for the whole entire year. Now the Nets will probably have to go with an assistant head coach or an interim head coach for the whole entire year, which, all right, but just because Udoka did decent with the Celtics last year and got to the finals, I don't think he's going to have that kind of success with the Brooklyn Nets. I think this team has too much ego and too much drama surrounding it for him to be able to have success on his team.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, he also took, this is also a coach that we didn't think he was going to do that well in his first year in Boston and took him all the way to the finals. Could he have that kind of success? Maybe. Can he be the one that can bring Kyrie, KD, and Ben Simmons all together and make them into a team that can potentially compete next year? I don't know. That's too early to tell. Of course, that's like a whole nother year from now. That's going to be 2023, 2024 season. So I have no idea what's going to exactly happen for the Brooklyn Nets organization in the whole, and their coach to come. But they better hope that they can have the same kind of success that the Celtics did. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, well, all I could say is firing Steve Nash is a scapegoat. I'm sorry. I can't say anything more than that.
Yeah, they were definitely saying that it was a scapegoat situation. Like, I think it was just like they rather have gotten rid of him than fix the situations that are in hand.
They don't want to admit that they have a true issue on their hands.
Oh, they definitely do. Because I hate to say it, who in their right mind thinks that Ben Simmons is better than James Harden? I don't.
Bench Simmons, you mean? Bench Simmons?
Bench Simmons, yeah.
But, no, the problem is all the egos. And let's face it, no one can be, they can't all be LeBron, Wade, and Bosh and somehow make it work.
Right.
Okay? They can't all be Durant, Curry, and Thompson. And granted, that one, wasn't as good as the Heat run, but it was still a good run.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe they're just learning that the hard way, and instead of just learning it, or I'm sorry, what I'm going to go off of saying they're going to learn the hard way is they're going to learn by tanking so bad.
All right.
Okay. Eventually they'll come to the realization that, man, this just isn't working. Just like Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe, but the Kobe, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard roster that was supposed to go to championships and all that.
Right.
But
I mean, also a lot of those players were past their prime too, so that's also what happened with that too. Steve Nash was kind of past his prime. Kobe was kind of getting past his prime. Dwight Howard was kind of getting past his time. Like, it just, you figured that was going to happen, that they were going to play as well. But if you had them in their prime, oh yeah, I think that team definitely would have been, like, if you had like if this was like 2009 and you had that team put together with Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, and Dwight Howard, oh yeah, by far that would have been a destructive team. But you're also talking about, this is like what, 2015, 2016, around that time. They were kind of like not the same players by that time.
yeah. Yeah.
But I guess there goes, that'll be it for my takeaways, so I'm going to officially let you go with yours.
I hope I don't get too distracted. I'm sorry. It's this championship's got me like hooked right now because just full disclosure, because we do have we're doing okay on time right now. Ty Gibbs dumped his teammate last week to make the championship, which he didn't need to do to make it, and now everyone in the field might want to pay him back. But that said, let's go on to my takeaways. We'll cover that more in Out of Turn 4, by the way. But Astros, we got to talk the Houston Astros, man. They look down and out after Game 3. They come out in Game 4 and they throw a combined no-hitter. A combined no-hitter in the World Series. Something I don't think we've seen in a really long time. I think this is the first combined no-hitter in World Series history, if I'm not mistaken. But man, all I can say is just wow.
That's insane.
I mean, if that's not clutch, what is clutch?
Right. This is a very interesting World Series so far. It can literally go either way, honestly. I mean, yes, the Astros are leading 3-2, and Game 6, as we're recording on a Saturday, is what, tonight, right?
Wait, sorry, what was that again?
I said Game 6, as we're recording on a Saturday, is later
Game
tonight,
6.
right?
Well, we're recording at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. The Game 6 is actually an hour from when we record, so it's going to be interesting. Verlander, by the way, in Game 5, got his first ever World Series win. In the amazing long career of Justin Verlander, he had never won a World Series game entering this one, and he finally did it. So, just remarkable. The run that the Astros have gone on, and now the Phillies got to win some games in Houston in order to stay alive.
Dad, you gotta hit play. Sorry.
Yeah. But I don't want to comment too much on this, just because we're still in Game 6.
Just hit the home button. Sorry.
So I don't want to comment too much on this because, of course, we're in Game 6. We're not, obviously we don't know the results of it. We don't know if there's a Game 7 or not. So because of that, out of respect for it, I don't want to comment too much on it. But I do want to move on to the next takeaway with that. Can I just note that the Chargers, and I gave a lot of shit for a lot of trades on Saturday or on Tuesday.
Right.
But why? Why didn't the Chargers make a move? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I don't understand because, it just sucks that Brandon Cooks is still on a really crappy Texans team. Because right now they're 1-6-1. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Probably gonna be the number one. Having the number one overall pick heading into the draft.
Let's see.
Probably just gonna be what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then
I would have loved to make a move for Brandon Cooks.
I was gonna say, if you're Houston or you're the Chargers, why wouldn't you try to make an offer for Brandon Cooks?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he even try to get rid of him? If you know that you're so bad, you could be tanking the potentially go after a top receiver or a top player or somebody to make this team a little bit better. I feel bad for Lovie Smith. I feel bad for this Houston organization because Davis Mills isn't a bad quarterback. I just think that it is a really crappy situation that they're dealing with. Even the coaches they had beforehand
they just got the wrong
great.
people in the wrong places in Houston. That's the whole problem. But
I agree.
I want to stick to the Chargers' point of this because the Chargers is the reason why I got to talk about this. And again, you have Mike Williams out. Keenan Allen just re-aggravated his hamstring. He's out for another long period of time.
Right.
Was it Jalen Guyton's out too?
I think so.
Yeah, so the point is, Justin Herbert's top 3 favorite targets all out right now. This is inexcusable that they didn't make a deal. And, not for nothing, you have a good enough roster when healthy that I think you can afford to spare a number 1 pick, I think you could afford to do it.
I know, and honestly, they could have even looked into free agency for a receiver. Not gonna lie. Odell's still hurt and he's out there and he's recovering. But why doesn't the Chargers try to make a bid for Odell Beckham Jr.? I'm sure he would want to go to the Chargers. I mean, I'm sure he wants to win a championship again too, but I think that
But
it
the
would,
Chargers are almost there. I mean, it's not like, I get it. He wants to win a title now, but, the Chargers are a team that's, if they were healthy, number one, and again, I said I don't want to use health as the full excuse.
Right.
If the coaching decisions kind of wised up a little bit, this is a
Right.
team that'd be right there in the thick of this. This is a 4-3 team that, frankly, doesn't deserve to be 4-3 right now.
I agree.
Okay, but somehow, through the skin, through it all, we somehow made it to that point. But again, I just don't see why the moves weren't made that needed to be made. So it's just frustrating as a Charger fan. It's, again, Herbert's not having the best year, but this is where you go out and you reach to get somebody.
I mean, honestly, I agree. They probably should have reached to try to get somebody, because there was honestly some pretty good options out there, for them, receiver wise.
Yep.
Option wise, I mean, of course we'll talk about the NFL trade deadline and who got dealt, but from some of those names, I mean, other than maybe the one,
See,
they could have made a bid for them, but I guess the Chargers just think that, well, we already have some of the great receivers. Why should we take a bid for them? Well, because most of them are hurt, and you could get rid of, like a pick or so, just to grab somebody that can be healthy, can play almost kind of right away for them to add up some production. Because when those guys do get back, then you have that fourth guy, or you have that other receiver in there that can help them, win some games and potentially make a bid for playoffs. But right now, they can't. I don't know if they're going to be the team to be able to make bid for playoffs, because they just don't have anybody. And I can see where it's frustrating to be a Chargers fan, because every year you think, well, we're getting the pieces, we have the defense put in place, we should be a lot better, and then you just, have all these injuries, and then it's just like a evolving door every single year. It's just like, and it sucks. But
it's painful. It's painful. One thing that might not be so painful just yet, and again, wait till March and we'll see if it is painful. College basketball is back this week. Of course, a lot of changes this year. A lot of players left. Syracuse lost both Boeheim brothers. Coach K's gone. Jay Wright is gone. So big changes there. And keep in mind, the miraculous run that North Carolina went on, that put them now number 1 in the AP and the coaches poll. And of course, as I look at the preseason rankings, man, Baylor's still up there. Creighton, Kansas, Kansas, of course, will be without Bill Self for the first 4 games because of a recruiting violation. So the defending champs will not have their coach or their assistant coach to open up the season.
Crazy.
But, man. But I imagine after UNC's run, I mean, everyone had their doubts about that new coach there. But, man, I gotta say, they're a favorite. I get their number 1 early on. It might be a big target on their back, but I think UNC is going to be that team this year.
It very well could be. I mean, I know, time will only tell who's actually going to be, a favorite early on college basketball-wise.
Yep.
I don't think Syracuse is even going to be in the discussion. Duke will be interesting to see if
John Shire,
success after Coach A will actually be there. But I think that maybe UNC can definitely be in there. they always seem to be a team that always seems to compete every single year. Duke, kind of sad that they couldn't even get to the championship at all last year. Baylor, I think, will definitely be in there again.
Yeah, Baylor will be in the discussion, I'm sure. Another interesting thing, of course, Loyola Chicago, that team that seems to always arrive in March. They will now be in the A10, so that will make things very interesting. As they will have to battle for the A10 title as opposed to the Missouri Valley.
Right.
So, again, time will tell. We got a long way to go till March. And with that, let's go back to the now. And we'll be right back in a moment as we're going to discuss the NFL trade deadline. We have 5 of the biggest moves that have been made. We also got our Week 9 picks coming up and Tinkle on this, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment here. Here we go. Let's talk some of the big deals at the deadline. We got to talk about this. Bills get Nyheim Hines, and of course Marlowe they also got.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Dolphins because they're now talking Super Bowls. I don't think, we're in that, we'll see, I guess. But Bradley Chubb and then Jeff Wilson Jr. from the 49ers. The Jags get a suspended Calvin Ridley, so maybe bailing on this season but thinking long term, and that might be a good thought to have.
Yeah.
This one probably the dumbest move of the entire trade deadline. The Lions do an interdivisional trade and trade their best tight end, TJ Hawkinson, to the Vikings. And then, of course, the Steelers finally just waving the white flag and trade Chase Claypool to the Bears. So with that, of those, at least those seemed like the 5 major ones that we didn't discuss last week. Of course, last week I believe we discussed Robert Quinn and Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, we did.
So with that, what move was the best, and which one do you think was the worst on the deadline?
The best one was probably, I think, long term for the definitely the Jags. Maybe. I mean, if you think about it, Calvin Ridley. Yes, we don't exactly know how he'll be heading into next year with being suspended the whole entire year, but I think that he's still one of the top receivers in the NFL. I mean, I think he got wrongfully suspended for something really, really stupid, but I think he can honestly help out the Jags long term because now they got a number 1 receiver in Calvin Ridley for the future, and if they add more pieces to make this team a lot better, I think that
No.
Trevor Lawrence and head coach there can put together a pretty decent team heading into next year. But I also do think that Hawkinson to the Vikings is going to really help out the offense very well. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and Hawkinson. I mean, nothing gets better than that. I don't like the Chubb and Wilson Jr. moves for the Dolphins because apparently Chubb has not played a whole entire year healthy. So I think that's a really bad move. And Wilson Jr.
deal too.
Yeah, 5-year, over $60 million over 5 years, something like that. I don't know.
I thought we learned the rule from Russell Wilson that you don't sign anybody until you see how they play for your team.
Yeah, you would think, but maybe that was just in the running of why they got him in the first place, because they wanted to grab that deal and he wanted a contract extension, so they were willing to give it to him. They think maybe, well, he's one of the top pass rushers. Well, I hate to say he ain't no Von Miller. But and maybe if he can stay healthy, yeah, I think it would be a good move for the Dolphins. And then the thing is, do you really need another running back from the 49ers? Because I know, Mike McDaniels and the 49ers connection there, but do you really got to have all damn near all of the former running backs that he had on that team, all on the same Dolphins team. I mean, you have Raheem Mostert, Wilson Jr., and then you also had the other wide running back from the 49ers.
Yep.
All running backs that were under Mike McDaniels when he was offensive coordinator there. So I don't understand that move. I think that's one of the worst ones. And I think Chase Claypool, the Bears, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, Claypool hasn't been all that great the whole entire year. You know, Deontay Johnson's 10 times better than him. George Pickens, I think, is not really better than Claypool, but I think that he can be a top option for the Steelers heading forward. So honestly, I think that one, those two are some of the worst ones. But Buffalo getting Nyheim Hines, I do like that. I think he's going to... I mean, I know Buffalo was in the running for a running back, and I think that he's somebody that can, you know, when healthy, can be a great guy that can catch out of the backfield, that can run the ball. He's got speed behind him, so he's definitely somebody that can, you know, when given the opportunity, can take that ball and run with it. D. Marlowe I like because he was there before. He knows the system really well. Buffalo, unfortunately, you know, has Micah Hyde out for the whole entire year. So if D. Marlowe can get well acquainted back to the offense, I would kind of like him to start over Hamlin, even though Hamlin has been really good this year in place of Micah Hyde. But D. Marlowe, I think it makes a little bit more sense with the depth at safety. But for me, I think that D. Marlowe would make a little bit more sense to start than Hamlin because he's been in that system, and I think he's a better player. But I don't know. How do you feel about the best and worst? I mean, I don't know if you agree or not.
So, I mean, Hines is an upgrade for the Bills at running back, obviously. I think he's an upgrade over Zach Moss, to be honest. And
yeah, I would definitely agree.
I believe he'll be a big upgrade in the kicking game, obviously, because I know he's a good kick returner as well. As far as the Dolphins, I'm going to put a question mark next to because again, when Chubb's healthy, we know what he's capable of doing. And to be honest, that defense is so loaded, I think he can be a part of that big unit when healthy. And he can definitely get to the quarterback with no problem. But again, I question the health because he's not stayed healthy in the past.
Right.
You know, the Jags, keep in mind, the big if is they have to re-sign Calvin Ridley. And that might be a little bit of a challenge, you know, considering Jacksonville's not exactly a desired destination for anybody. So
yeah, but I think they might give him an extension. I mean, why else would you bring him to the team if you didn't have that in mind?
Either that or they'll tag him. That's what I think's going to end up happening.
They might.
But as far as the dumbest move, I'm sorry, you don't trade interdivisional like that. You know, now Hawkinson is with the Vikings. It gives Kirk Cousins an amazing weapon on the inside there. You know, and like I said, the Vikings might have just went from that middle tier, like middle of the road NFC team. I don't want to say that they are now a Super Bowl contender, but they definitely are a team that could wreak havoc in the NFC right now.
Yeah, I agree
with that move. So, Chase Claypool, why are you adding weapons for Justin Fields when he can't even hit one to begin with? Okay. Poor Chase Claypool, rest in peace to him. You know, that deal just, I don't know. I don't get that one. But like I said, in terms of the best, I would say for sure, you know, the Bills and the Dolphins for sure bulked up in that trade deadline.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
You know, and again, the Packers, you know, didn't do anything. You know, the Lions certainly, it looks like just conceded. So.
Yeah. The Lions are at this point just like knowing that they're not going to be that good this year, and they're going to try to like look into the draft, which is sad because you know the team's a lot better than the record shows, and I feel like they're just more so instead of fixing the problems, they're just we'll deal with it when we can.
Yeah.
It's just
But yeah, that's I think all we got for that. So let's get on to the games here. We start with the Chargers and the Falcons. The Chargers are favored by 3.
ugh. I don't know if they're still going to be dealing with some injuries. I don't know if I'd like them in this case. I hate to say it, Brian. I might have to go with the Falcons here.
I got to go with the Falcons, too. They're on a good run. I believe Marcus Mariota, the last 5 games, has had the best stats of any quarterback in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go with the Falcons there. Dolphins, Bears. Dolphins favored by 4.
Yeah, and also Chase Claypool's Bears debut, too, at home. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can honestly make an immediate impact to the Bears or if he won't. I'm still going to have to go Dolphins here. I just think that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to be way too much for that Bears defense to handle.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, to be honest. I still don't buy Justin Fields, even with the upgrade at wide receiver. So,
right.
Panthers, Bengals. I think we know who we're picking, but, it is a 7-point favorite and favored Cincy.
I will say P.J. Walker will certainly have another decent game there, but I think that the Bengals, no Jamar Chase, but I don't think that's going to matter. I'm going to say Bengals here.
I'm going to say Bengals too, but man, P.J. Walker, they found something with him. I don't know how, but they certainly have found something with P.J. at quarterback.
I will say I know we haven't gotten there yet, but I do have an honorary mention for Tinkle on this, and I think you're going to find it funny too about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Oh man.
But next one, Packers and Lions.
Yeah, Packers, Lions. Packers favored by 3.5.
Yeah, the Packers have been really rocky, losing 4 games in a row, but I think this is where they're going to get back on track against their division rival on the road.
They're going to win it in the most Lions way possible, okay? So, Packers, I'm picking in this one. That said, Colts, Patriots, a long-time rivalry. New England favored by 5.5.
I'm going to have to go Patriots here. I still don't buy the Colts. I don't buy Sam Ehlinger being the starter for the rest of the year. I really don't. So, yeah.
Ever since Peyton left, it would appear that the Patriots have had the Colts number in hand. So, that said, I gotta go New England. But I will say, it would appear that the team is turning on Mac Jones. The team, the media, they're all turning on Mac Jones for sure. So, I'm going to go with the Patriots, but man, he's on a short leash. Bills, Jets. Bills favored by 11.5.
I think that's insane that they're so high of being favorites. I'm going to have to agree with Buffalo here, especially with the Jets. I never really bought. Yes, they were on a nice little run there, but I hate to say it, Sauce Gardner, you're going to wish that you didn't cover Stephon Diggs. I understand he is, one of the better rookie corners, but I hate to say it, bud, Diggs does pretty good against rookie corners, so your day is going to be a living nightmare. And even if Diggs gets shot down, there's another couple receivers that Buffalo has that can still step up. And one of them is Gabe Davis, and the other is Isaiah McKenzie. So I hate to say it, I think Buffalo is going to find a way to win this game, especially with Nyheim Hines in his debut with the Bills, I think that he's going to have some say in this game too. So I'm going to definitely go Bills, but I do not like it being 11.5. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills, but I got to say, though, I disagree with you on Sauce Gardner. He's been pretty good all year. I think he's going to keep one of the receivers in check on the Bills. I don't think it's
Well,
going to be Diggs.
he's probably going to be covering Diggs. Let's
Okay.
be honest.
Yeah, look, there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why Sauce Gardner's going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Okay, we're going to learn it pretty quick. But that said, I'm going to pick the Bills still. I don't exactly like the odds in favor of them, like, the line, but I do like the Bills for sure. Vikings, Commandos, Vikings favored by 3.
Yeah, I like the Vikings better than the Commanders. You add Hawkinson in that fold, I think that they're going to find a lot better offensive success. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go to the Vikings here.
All right.
And mind you,
Yep.
that I like the Vikings better as being a threat in the NFC as being 6-1 than I do with the Eagles being 8-0.
See, I'm going to go with the Vikings because I think definitely TJ Hawkinson's going to be the difference maker in this.
Right.
He's going to take the pressure off of Justin Jefferson there. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this. Jags Raiders. Jags. No, Vegas favored by 2.
I'm going to have to go with the upset. I think the Jags are going to beat the Raiders here.
Yep. I'm going to say the same thing. NTN is starting to come into his own. I get the Jags are still a few pieces away from really being that team that's going to play for a playoff spot. But I got to go with the Jags here. I think the Raiders are too much of a mess to take this one.
The Raiders are absolutely trash on the road too. I'm looking at it. I mean, I just think that's not going to help them in their favor either.
Seahawks, Cardinals, and should I tell you this? The Cardinals are favored by 2, but Kyler Murray hasn't won since the new Call of Duty came out.
I know. I find that hilarious. Seahawks are shocking a lot of people this year. I think they're going to keep it up. I think they're going to get the win against their division rival, the Cardinals.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. They're at home. They finally got D-Hop back for a couple games.
Right.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. I think they pull off the win. Rams Bucks a rematch from, I believe, the playoffs. But yeah, the Bucks are favored by 3.
Yeah, this is a rematch of last year's. I want to say either divisional or NFC Championship game. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm gonna have to. I want to say the Rams. I just think that Tom Brady and the Bucks are just too much of a disaster piece. I think the Rams are gonna be a little too much for them.
I feel like Todd Bowles is gonna get out coached, and I'm gonna go with the Rams here. Cooper Kupp being the difference maker. Sunday Night Football, Titans Chiefs. Oh man, I don't think we need to pick this one.
I don't know. I mean, be interesting. I want to say definitely the Chiefs, but I do not like that they're 12.5-point favorites.
I think the Chiefs are going to win big. I'm sorry. I just am not buying the Titans right now. That said, Monday Night Football, Baltimore, New Orleans, and now MT is out for the year.
Yeah, I don't like that it's Baltimore too. point favorites. I think this is going to be a lot more in favor of the Ravens than the Saints. I think the Ravens are going to crush the Saints on Monday Night Football
I
on the
think
road.
I think they're going to get a big lead. Then the fourth quarter, they're going to kind of give up some slack, but I still think Baltimore will hang on for the win. Thursday night football, another crap game. Get ready, guys. It's the Falcons and the Panthers. Falcons favored by 1.5.
Yeah, I think Falcons are going to go 6-4.
I'm going to be sleeping.
I think
I think I'm going to be taking a rescheduled go to bed early night there, and I'm just going to go with the Falcons. Anyway, let's get on to Tinkle on this, and I hate picking on high school teams, but this one is bad. The referees called a Canadian high school game early because one of the teams was up by 100 points. Apparently, the refs do not believe. But I'm sorry.
No.
I
just want to know how come it had to take until 100 points to call the game. Why wouldn't you call the game a lot sooner than that?
Not sure, but I'm sorry. I do agree they should have called the game, but man, to a team that was down, man, what happened? That's why you're getting Tinkle on this, folks.
Hey man, they're from Toronto. Their main sport is hockey, not football. Sorry, I know, bad joke.
Yes, but anyway, Tinkle on this.
Honorary mention for Tinkle on this. I like how Baker Mayfield goes from being backup to starter, and now apparently playing defensive snaps with the practice squad. So, I hate to say it, Baker Mayfield, tinkle on this as well, because you're so trash that you're apparently, so bad that you're going to be taking defensive snaps instead of quarterback snaps with the Panthers.
Yeah, I'll give him that one. Oh my goodness. But
poor Baker. I don't think he deserves that kind of treatment at all, but
he doesn't. He really doesn't, but with that, yeah, what's coming up on No Final Bell?
Actually, let me pull up some of my notes. Shockingly enough, Double J Jeff Jarrett is now in All Elite Wrestling as a business, the leader of business development, as they're looking to expand, as AEW's looking to expand their calendar in 2023 with more live events. Colt Cabana is officially returned. So just more stuff heading into the pay-per-view and whatnot. So definitely look forward to that. What's heading into Championship Sunday there for Turn 4?
I gotta tell you, and again, I apologize to our viewers for my lack of comments today. I've been so distracted with this Xfinity race. Of course, again, Brandon Jones wrecked by Ty Gibbs to get into the Championship 4. Right now, this battle for the lead in the Championship 4 in the Xfinity Series is intense as I'm sitting here and watching it, and that's why I haven't said too much on this show. But we're going to, of course, recap this because Ty Gibbs has a whole garage of people that are angry at him. We talked about the video game move on the last Tuesday. Will it lead into a championship? Of course, we'll have to find out. And guess who's back? 7-time NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson is back to racing. And I'll explain about that in Out of Turn 4. It is the season finale of Out of Turn 4, as racing is pretty much done for the year. So this is our last episode until January or February. So that said,
I think it's kind of crazy to see Jimmy Johnson back. I mean, I
yeah.
guess nobody ever stays retired. Just look at Tom Brady.
Well, he never really retired, to be honest.
Oh,
He went to IndyCar
that's
for a
true.
few years, so Jimmy's still out there racing, but now he's on the bucket list items, and this might have been a bucket list item that we just didn't know about. So now it's going to be fun. I'm telling you, the Daytona 500 is going to be insane next year. But I will leave it at that. You will have to tune in to see my full thoughts on it on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Facebook Watch. And then, of course, tune in Wednesday to No Final Bell on YouTube and Facebook Watch at 5 p.m. But until next week, goodbye, everyone.